Welcome to the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. This is your host, baseball player and entrepreneur, Gavin Johns. This podcast will empower you to reach your fullest potential in life. Inspirational stories, keys to success, and practical methods to overcome life's challenges will be revealed. I encourage you to be the light in the lightning and spark a positive change in the world today. How's everyone doing? We got the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. This is your host, Gavin Johns, and just super excited for this one today. I hope everyone's enjoying the new year. And so today we got special guest, softball player. She's an infielder, a junior. She's going to Fresno State, plays softball, like I said, and she's from Marietta, California. And currently, she's pursuing a career in sports psychology. So without further ado, Lele Denby. Thanks for coming on, Lele.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Super excited.
No problem. So Lele and I, our families, we're good family friends. As you all know, Daryl is her brother, Daryl Denby. He came on the podcast already, and he's thriving in Utah. GG Juicery still. Love Daryl. Shout out to Daryl. So yeah, I'm super excited for this one. Last year we actually did some infield training together, which was pretty cool. With Bradley and his father Lenny Randall. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, excited to get into it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so we'll just get right into it. The first question I wanted to ask you, since it's, an inspirational podcast, I wanted to know, what challenges have you overcome in your career as a softball player so far?
Yeah, so the first thing that I've overcome, and I'm kind of still learning to this day, is like dealing with failure and adversity, especially like being a freshman, like 2 years ago, since I'm a junior now, just like coming in as a freshman and learning how to adjust to the faster pitching, more spin on the ball, faster girls, slappers, stronger girls, and they're obviously have more experience than I am. So just like learning how to deal with failure and like learning how to not dwell on failures and past mistakes. So I just learned how to like try to like overcome that and focus on the next at bat and try to stay positive and keep my confidence up. I know, especially in like the game of softball and baseball as well, it's a lot of failure. So I think just like trying to focus on like the good things that come out of like failures and like trying to be positive. And then also like learning about like flushing mechanisms, and just like I know there's different people who have like different flushing mechanisms, but one of mine is I kind of like if I make an error or something, then I kind of like pick the dirt or something, and then I'm like ready to go and I'm back in the zone ready to play for my teammates. So I think that's like something that I've learned to like overcome. And then also like playing a different position. I'm originally like a middle infielder, and I've been there since like my whole life. And so my freshman year I actually played first base. So that was
Yeah.
a little different for me. I was like, whoa, first base, like what the heck? But it was actually a really fun experience, learning, and like I really like appreciate first basemen a lot more, playing that position. But I think it's like also just being able to overcome something that you kind of was new to and kind of throw into, but just also like putting your teammates and your team first, instead of your own self. So that was a cool experience. I actually got a lot of more balls than I was expecting, because usually like first basemen don't really get that much, but I actually got a lot. So that was really cool, playing that position. And then just also dealing with COVID. I mean, that's still pretty prominent right now, but dealing with COVID, like my freshman year, we were actually like top 25. We were doing so good, had just beat Texas. And we were on our way to Boise State to play our first conference game, and we got like the season was canceled like in the airport. So we were like, no, like what was going on? Like I didn't really know about COVID at that time. I was like, what is COVID? Like I didn't really know. People were in masks, and I was super confused and super like disappointed because we were pretty much on a roll. But just also dealing with that. And then I actually ended up having COVID this past January, coming back, and then not having a fall due to COVID as well was very hard. So just learning how to deal with that and kind of just persevere through those obstacles, and just trying my best. I mean, you with COVID, there's also like you can't play, had a 14-day quarantine. So I was kind of late to the game with practicing and all that stuff. So it kind of set me back a little bit, but just focusing on what I need to do and just being a team player. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely some really good character traits, as you said, about perseverance and being able to overcome life's challenges as they're thrown at us. And yeah, COVID's a great example of that. You know, the whole world was affected by that. But yeah, no, I'm proud of you for facing that head on and overcoming it. I know it's not easy. So definitely. Absolutely. So, in addition to that, just to build off that, you touched on a lot of great points there. But furthermore, how softball relates to life. You kind of hinted at it a little bit, overcoming the challenges. Maybe what are a few other things that softball has taught you that you can take into your life, your everyday life?
Yeah, so like I said, kind of like sticking on like the failure and adversity kind of topic is just like how you're responding to it. And I feel like with softball, you have to learn how to deal with like a lot of mental toughness. And I feel like that kind of really stems from having like emotional discipline. And so like learning how to deal with stress, learning how to like excel in those pressure situations, learning how to figure out what I need to do for the teammates. And like if I fail, then what can I do to get that next at bat, like I said, or the next play or things like that. So like learning how to deal with failure and how to like really focus on how to respond, because I feel like that's what really separates you as a player. And I feel like when you dwell on different things, it can kind of deteriorate from your own success. So I think just learning how to deal with failure and reacting to it. And then also like dealing kind of like with the haters and like the unbelievable like believers. I feel like that's kind
Yeah.
of like a big thing. I mean, I've dealt with it like since I've been growing up, just playing softball. So especially in high school, it's for pretty much that was like the most time I've gotten a little bit of haters. But I think just dealing with that and kind of like stemming, just like focusing on yourself and like what you're capable of and keeping that confidence and never let anyone kind of break your spirit and like what you are performing and how are you doing in your own sport and your life as well. So I feel like that just also stems in like every single aspect of your life, whether it's a career, a job, friendships, relationships. I feel like that also just there's always going to be someone who's not going to believe in you. So I feel like just focusing on yourself and like just trying to keep your confidence is very crucial. Um, and then also I could say just like being a good teammate and a good person. I feel like being a good person for me it outweighs being a good player. I feel like sometimes there's good players, but they're not really good people, and that's not something you kind of want to be around because there's also life after softball, after baseball, or every different sport. And I feel like when you make those genuine connections, it goes a long way. Like I have like friends from rec ball that I still talk to, I still hang out with. So I think that's like kind of like the values of like softball and like what I think that it really incorporates, like having like genuine connections, building relationships, and like just having fun. I feel like softball and baseball and just sports in general, it's sometimes a lot of stressful, especially at the college level. So just being able to like just have fun and like build those good connections and be a good person pretty much. So I think that goes for whatever aspect or direction you're going in life. Like I said, whether that's a career, relationships, I feel like just being a good person definitely outweighs being a good player.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that was very well put. And yeah, just like you said, you know, it's more than sports. You know, it expands. You know, outside the field, outside the court. And so that's awesome. You know, you have your priorities in order,
Yeah.
and you know, I can attest for that too. You know, not only are you a great softball player, but you're a great person as well. You're fun to be around. So definitely a positive light in the world. Definitely.
Appreciate that. Thank you. You too.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. So in addition to that, the
Mhm.
next question I wanted to ask, you know, since this isn't just necessarily, you know, sports podcast, we talk about a lot of different things, you know, in life that we already kind of alluded to. Um, you know, this podcast is, um, aims at being able to impact and influence a lot of different types of people, different
Mhm.
backgrounds, different upbringings, different career paths. But I think we all as humans have commonalities, at the same time. No matter what we're doing, what we're going through, we have things in common. So I wanted to know for you personally,
Mhm.
what excites you most about life? Like what motivates you to get out of bed and get your day started in the morning?
Yeah, so like especially with like 6:30 like AM weights, it's very difficult and I'm like, I gotta get out of bed or I'm gonna get in trouble. So I mean, I guess that can kind of be like a little motivation. But
Yeah,
I think definitely for sure my family. They've sacrificed so many things for me to get where I'm at today. So I feel like that's kind of like what motivates me. Then also just like free education and like being in a position where a lot of girls would die for. So I feel like that's what like kind of motivates me to get up and kind of inspires me because I'm technically like a role model to little girls, especially playing softball. So I feel like just being able to wake up and be like, let's go, let's just get after it. Like, I know I'm so blessed and like so many different things that could be going on in the world, but like here I am just waking up for weights, being able to get a workout in like with my teammates. So I feel like, especially just like that, just like kind of like just counting your blessings and like just having like your idea of putting others before yourself. And like I said, that kind of really stands for my family and my parents, and how much they've helped me and got me to where I am today. So, yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's I hear a lot of purpose coming from that. I think life is just so much more than just going through the day and going through the motions. When you have, like you said, reasons to wake up in the morning, things you look forward to,
Yeah,
in your heart, in your mind, it makes it so much more meaningful and so much more fun to do what you're doing and purposeful. That's
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so much more fun when you're just like, let's just go get it. Like, let's get
Yeah,
after it. And like, especially having your teammates like there with you, I feel like that's also like a motivational piece and just like having fun and just like going in there, like lifting, especially with like max out days. Those are always so cool. It's just like we're lifting weight. We don't even know we can lift it.
yeah.
We're gonna lift it. Like it's so much fun, like especially for lifting and like conditioning and things like that. So I think just like trying to have fun and just like I said, kind of count your blessings and like there's so many people that would like die to be playing college softball who have not had those opportunities or injuries or different things like that. So I think just like being grateful and showing gratitude for like where you're at today, I think that's what definitely motivates me.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, you mentioned the words blessed
Yeah.
multiple times. I wanted to ask, in what ways have you seen your faith in God help you the most?
Yeah, so honestly, like this past year, I was going through a lot of challenges in adversity, especially in softball. I mean, we had a great season as a team, but individually, I was kind of like going through some challenges and just with my mental game and things like that. And I've recently had like just been really like on fire with the Lord. I kind of like, especially during COVID, I kind of like reconnected and like strengthened and matured my relationship with God. So that was like really something that I kind of like focused on and like having faith. And just like again, we talked about like failures. I remember like sitting like on the phone just talking to my mom and like crying and being like, why is God not helping me? Like, mom, like I'm struggling, like I'm going like one for whatever, and I'm just like not figuring it out. I'm just like, what's going on? Like, God, I'm praying and all this stuff. But I feel like what kind of like separates you is from like when you're having beliefs is like actually like learning how to like seek him and not seeking him for like your own things. I feel like when we just seek God, like there's a lot of times we like, oh, I want this, like this is why I'm praying or this is why I'm glorifying you. But I feel like if you're just like glorifying and seeking him, just like truly to just give him glory and give him praise, I feel like there's a lot of different more benefits that you have than like trying to get something out of it for your own self. So I think that was like really what me and just like knowing that no matter what like I go through, no matter what obstacles or trials and tribulations that I may go through, I know that he's always going to be beside me and like he'll never leave or forsake me. And I know that there's so many uncertainties in life, and I feel like just having gratitude and like I said, just like showing gratitude and like being blessed, I think that's goes a long way. So I think just in that, just like having faith and trusting his timing, there's a purpose and a plan for like everything that he does. So like I just kind of like try to stick to that, and like just knowing also like kind of what I've learned is like I'm not defined by like my sport or like my performance. I'm kind of defined by and found worthy through my identity with Christ. So that's kind of been like what I've been like holding on to. So that's like pretty much where I've been like trying to like have faith and just knowing that God has greater plans than what we can ever imagine. My eyes are watering.
Amen.
Sorry. They're watering.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. No, that's awesome. I mean, I feel like, what you said there about, just like we touched on earlier about, whatever life throws at us, we can handle it because we
Exactly.
have a big, powerful God, and he helps us through those circumstances and situations.
Hmm.
Life is a lot easier, when things are going well, we think we could do it on our own, but
Yeah.
what I've learned in my life, and what you've said you've learned is, he humbles us too in those times, and makes us realize that we do have to depend on him because we can't do it all ourselves. And in addition to that, we need other people as well, so
Exactly.
it's got to be a collective effort, just like a softball team. Everyone's got to be moving in the same direction.
Mhm.
But it goes the same in a community, goes the same in a family. Everyone's going to be working together in the same direction. So no,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
definitely been like just focusing on like having more faith, and like just also like knowing that like we have our talents and like our strengths is which comes from God. So like just being able to also like glorify him, and just like I said, knowing that our like we're not defined by like our performance and what we put on the field, is like we're like a human, like we're an individual, like we're defined by who we are and like our identity as a follower of Christ. So that's what I kind of just lean on to.
Definitely, definitely. So when you say that identity aspect, some people maybe they don't fully understand what that means, because I didn't at first.
Yeah.
Would you mind expanding on that a little further, just about what that identity means and maybe what your true identity is?
Hmm. Yeah. So I feel like identity is kind of just like who you are as a person. I feel like there's so many like different values that people may have. Like I'm a follower of Christ, but maybe someone else's has a different belief, or I value family, or just different things that like people have different values of. And I feel like that's like important for people to like understand and like about themselves. So I feel like just finding your identity and knowing like what your purpose is. Like for me, I know like my purpose is to like spread the gospel and like just be a good person, encouraging people, just like being, like I said, being a good teammate, being a good person. So I feel like that is kind of like where my identity kind of stems from. And just like I said, just like valuing like who I am as a person inside rather than who I am as a softball player. So that's kind of where my identity kind of like comes from.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That was a great response, great response. And with that, as you mentioned, that our identity, it never changes. It's who we are. It can't be broken. Although, like you said in the beginning, like there will be haters, there will be people that try to crack it, but your
Yeah.
true identity, what God says you are, it can never waver. People may
Exactly.
say you're the best or say you're the worst, but God says, we're his children, we're loved, and we're worthy. So
Exactly.
whenever things go haywire or people want to tell us different, we can always go back to that foundation as Christians and believers and be reminded, who we really are. So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
So I wanted to ask, next question. You mentioned, you're a role model, in your position as a softball player to many young girls and boys, looking up to you and just your platform you have as a softball player.
Mhm.
For you, who are some of your role models or some of your mentors growing up, or people that have helped shape you to who you are today? It could be family, it could be friends, could be, someone on TV you haven't met yet. Like, who would you say? Could be all the above. I don't know.
Yeah. So like the first person, it's kind of corny, but it's actually Daryl. Um,
Yeah, let's go.
yeah, so he's always kind of been like a role model to me because he's gone through so much adversity, and like it kind of talks about like the haters and like the unbelievers, and like especially playing like different sports. He played basketball, baseball, and football. So there's just a lot of different components that come in playing those different types of sports. And he dealt with a lot of, like I said, unbelievers. And I think what like inspired me most about his story is like he made it to like Weber State. He played at a high collegiate level, and he was a starter. Like he played college football, and I think that's kind of just like what inspired me to like just keep going no matter what other people say, and kind of like he never let anyone break his spirit and like what he wanted to do as a player and as an athlete. So I feel like he's kind of like someone who I really look up to within that aspect. So I'm like, yeah, boo boo, I love you for that. So
That's
um
awesome.
yeah, so like he's for sure. And then obviously my parents, like I kind of talked about earlier, I was just saying how like they sacrifice so much, especially playing travel ball, driving me like early in the morning to go to like big league dreams and play tournaments and showcases, and just driving me like back and forth everywhere I need to go, paying for dues and equipment and just different things like that. And they always like put me first. So I just pay like good respect and thanks to them for continuously like helping me even in my college career now, like always coming and like watching my games and supporting me through every decision that I make. So I feel like those are like the main components and main people who have inspired me and like made such an impact in my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, family's important, and that's who you're closest to, and you spend the most time around, and
Yeah.
they mold you just like you said, who you are today and who you're going to become in the future. So that's exciting. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Um, so outside of softball, outside of preparing for sports psychology,
hmm
outside of hanging out with family, what do you enjoy doing for fun? What are some of your hobbies, some of your passions? What takes up your time?
Yeah, so I really like playing basketball. And I should have played basketball. I this is one thing I regret in my life, that I should have played basketball. I should have listened to my dad and just just went and played basketball, because I think I actually could have been really good. But I think basketball is like one of like the funnest sports. And like at the time I was like, I don't want to be dribbling the ball like just back and forth. Like I just thought it was boring for a second, but it's actually like really fun. So I really like playing basketball in my free time, or like volleyball, going to the beach with Sweet Pea, my sister, and our little friends. So that's like always been fun. And then I like reading. I dive into a lot of different kind of books, like whether that's like relationships, faith type of books, just different things that I kind of like to expand my knowledge on and like help me become like a better person, or like reach my full potential. So I think reading is like also another thing that I like to do. Some people view it as boring, but I think it's I think it's very nice to like sit down and read a book, drink a little coffee or something, and just like relax. And I like watching movies. I love watching movies. I'm kind of like a suspenseful thriller type of person, but like I can also like love like the funny and like romantic type. So I can I'm kind of like flexible on my little genres, but I really like watching movies, and I like going hiking as well. Hiking is something I like to do.
Nice.
I think my favorite that I've been to so far was probably Torrey Pines. That's in San Diego. That was cool. I've been there a couple times with my family and friends. So I think that's just a nice place to go. And then you have like the beach as your little view. So that's always been nice. But yeah, and then like you said, just hanging out with family and friends. I feel like family time is something that I really value. So just doing that as well.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's important, as you know,
hmm
um, that balance in life. We were talking about it just before this recording, that
Yeah.
those rest days, those times where you're relaxing and just enjoying life, outside of your sport, your job, whatever it is, that it's good, for that balance, for your mind, for your body. So that's important. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's good to like get away from your sport and just relax and kind of just come back to life and just like
Yeah.
enjoy and relax. And I love just going on TikTok too. That's something I love doing. I love scrolling TikTok. But yeah, just like having those like days where you just relax and focus on your mental health. I think that's very important, especially as an athlete, just giving a break, because there's always like we're always on the go, and like especially softball and baseball, it's kind of like year round. So I think just like focusing on like when I need a break or when I need to grind, I think that's finding, like you said, like the balance is very important.
Definitely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, Lele, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick here.
Okay.
New Year's. We got the new year, 2022.
Okay.
It's exciting. A lot of fun times coming. If you had to pick one word for you that you're gonna focus on in 2022, what would it be and why?
Oh gosh. I'd probably say growth. I'd say growth, just in every aspect in life. Whether that's myself, kind of like putting myself first and like focusing on what I need to do to improve myself and like what I can try to like reach my full potential. So like just growing as an individual. I think that's just gonna be like kind of like, I guess you could say, motto or whatever. I think just like growth and just like trying to learn new things and get out of my comfort zone as well. Just like trying to try different things. And yeah, I think just growth is what I want to definitely expand on and continue to do in 2022.
Let's go.
Yeah, right? I'm just like
Let's go. No, that's awesome. All right, I'm gonna hold you accountable to that though. You said it on here, so that's
I
awesome.
feel like
That's awesome.
2022, I know people say this every year, but I just have like a gut feeling that like 2022 is just gonna be a great year. I don't know why. I feel like I'm just in a good headspace this year, and I'm just ready to like just go out and try new things and just continue to grow and learn new things. And also I want to excel in softball this year. Praise God.
Let's go.
But yeah, I just feel like 2022 is for sure going to be a good year for everyone.
Yeah. Amen. Well, I'm rooting for you, and I'll be following you this season. So yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming on. You want to give them your Instagram name? We'll have it. I'll put it up here. But you want to give it to them real quick in case they want to follow you?
So it's Lele Denby with 3 Y's. When I spell Lele, Alesia, and then Denby, Denby, and then there's 3 Y's.
Boom. So, yeah. All right. Awesome. Yeah, we'll tag in it, of course. And yeah, definitely. So it was awesome having you on. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you for having me. It's been a good time.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everyone. That's Galvanize with Gavin podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk with you guys soon. Thank you all for tuning in to the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. I hope you were inspired and empowered to reach your fullest potential in life. For more resources, visit gavinjohns.com. For businesses interested in sponsoring the podcast, visit gavinjohns.com/sponsor. Thank you all, and God bless.